Welcome into historic Finch Field. I'm Adam Oppenheim alongside AJ Myers for the HiToms opening day against the Uwharrie Wampus Cats in their first ever game in franchise history. AJ, what are you most looking forward to?
Exactly that. Baseball is back, and I'm happy that it is at historic Finch Field. It should be a great matchup against the HiToms and Uwharrie Wampus Cats. As you were saying, it's the Wampus Cats' first ever game, which should be interesting. It's only an expedition, but baseball is back, and there's nothing better than that.
And we'll get you those opening lineups for the starting baseball game coming up next here on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome back into historic Finch Field. I'm Adam Oppenheim alongside AJ Myers on this Friday night, opening night for the HiToms. Game was originally scheduled for 6:30. Got pushed back just 5 minutes to 6:35, AJ. So we'll now be doing some starting lineups. So starting with the visiting Uwharrie Wampus Cats in their first ever game in franchise history. I can't get over that, AJ. And hitting the leadoff, Eli Harpolini. Sirianni hitting second. Breon Ishmael hitting third in the cleanup spot. It's going to be Owen Williams. B.J. Williams fouls him, hitting fifth. Bryson Beber hitting sixth. Isaiah Marin in the seventh spot. Aiden Wilson hitting eighth, and rounding out the lineup is Garrison Bridges for the Wampus Cats.
Yeah, a lot of guys on this roster that are, D2, D3 schools, and a lot of them have also been a part of the Wampus Cats' coach before, as we'll talk about throughout the broadcast.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, why not just get started with it now? Talking about Houston Wright, who was just a player 1 year ago with some of these guys and is already ready for collegiate summer ball. And having a team like the Uwharrie Wampus Cats is, first ever manager of franchise history, first ever game, first ever of a lot of things.
There's a lot of new with this team, but I think the organization made a smart choice in picking a coach who knows a lot of these players already because, well, he's played with some of them before.
That is very, very true. He was a Catawba assistant coach this past season. We'll be talking about many of those Catawba players in this Wampus Cats lineup. He also played at Spartanburg Methodist and the University of Tennessee Martin and was a two-time All-Region 10 Division I selection. So he's a really great player turned manager, and sort of that player coach who can be great for some things, but great for other things.
If the Wampus Cats maybe late in the game, ninth inning, they need somebody to come in, they could bring the manager in. He could absolutely step into the batter's box.
He absolutely can right now, and no doubt about that. So we'll keep an eye on Houston Wright near the dugout for the Wampus Cats. So now we'll get you the fielders for the home team, the Thomasville HiToms here at historic Finch Field. Starting in the outfield from left to right, Lewis in left field, Davidson in center field, Deering in right field. Verdong at third base, Coonan at short, Hill at second base, Davenport at first, behind the plate Astudillo, and on the mound is Brady Garcia, the left-hand pitcher. Pensacola State College out of Spanish Fort, Alabama, 6'5", 200. Did not pitch this recent college season, but has a lot of opportunities to improve his skills in college, and really that's what collegiate baseball is all about.
That's what Summer League baseball is mainly about, is these guys improving, and that's why they're all here.
So we're just about to get started here with some of the PA announcements and the opening lineup for both these teams. A pretty packed crowd here at historic Finch Field. The HiToms in their navy uniforms with white pants and striped socks that are navy blue. Uwharrie's in their brownish jerseys and sort of a darker yellow with orange numbers.
So very, very orange and big numbers.
Very cool jerseys with some white pants, but it really doesn't look like their franchise's first game. They have everything in order. They have the coach. They have the players. It's just about going out in there and competing because, like you mentioned, this is an exhibition game, and it's just sort of practice for both these teams, but no doubt about it, both these teams want to win.
Absolutely, exhibition game or not, first game of the season. Some of these guys, only arrived a few days ago. They want to get a win. Start off on the right note, especially if you're the Wampus Cats. Obviously, if you start your franchise out on a loss, it's not the end of the world, but it doesn't hurt to get a win to start things out.
That's right, and against a team like the HiToms here at Finch Field, this is one of the nicer parks they could be able to play at in the Coastal Plain League. Yesterday was the first day of Coastal Plain action where we had just a couple of games, and today we're finishing off with the rest of those teams, and the HiToms will also play tomorrow.
Yep.
Quite a nice day here at historic Finch Field, Thomasville, as some of the HiToms players run out with some kids from local schools around the Thomasville area. Currently about 67 degrees, cloudy, about 10 miles per hour of wind. And don't think wind's going to be too much of a factor, but it could be. You never know, especially in North Carolina.
No, especially, yeah. And also, of course, at Finch Field, you got the hill in the outfield, and a lot of these guys, that is something they've never seen before, played with before, so that's an obstacle they'll have to deal with throughout the game.
Now, I asked you on the pregame show, and if you didn't check out the pregame show, it's on all of our social media pages, pages at the HiToms about your expectations for this season. This team was 500 last year. What are you looking for this year?
I think more winning. I think they can be better than 500. I'm not saying last year was a bad year at all. It was still a solid year to have. But I think this is a deep team. They've got a lot of guys. They got a lot of guys, versatile guys. Pitching's deep as well. So I think this would be a really good year. And I'm excited to see what Coach Stevens does for the HiToms as well. We talked to him on the pregame show as well, and he was really excited for the season to start. And he's a guy he's got a winning mentality. He won as an assistant coach in the Cape Cod League a few years ago. And, he knows how to win.
And now we'll take a quick break for our national anthem and be back right after this. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Back here at Finch Field, just after the national anthem was sung so beautifully out at home plate. And a really nice day for baseball, right near 70 degrees. Once again, I'm Adam Opp, and I'm alongside A.J. Myers, a couple of your broadcasters who will be with you for HiToms Baseball in 2023. A new franchise in the Uwharrie Wampus Cats are facing the HiToms against first-year head coach Sean Stevens. So we're just about to get underway here at Finch Field. This should be a fun one.
Absolutely. First game of the season, nothing to lose. Great, as you were saying, beautiful day. Teams first time teams ever playing a game in their franchise history. Should be a fun game.
Yeah, and talking about Sean Stevens, the first-year manager for the HiToms, he's been a very successful coach across
he's been around,
many
definitely.
different platforms, most notably with the Brewster Whitecaps in the Cape Cod League in 2021. He was assistant coach, and he won there, and trying to bring that here with the HiToms, and also has coached at Keystone College, which is one of the best Division III colleges in the United States.
Yeah, and bringing that winning mentality is something he's really emphasizing. Talking to him these past few days, that's something that he wants to put first. Culture, the environment he sets in the clubhouse, and I think he's done that early on this year.
Yeah, and I think most people worry about, the Division III, Division II, Division I stuff, the other leagues as well, but if you win, you win.
Exactly.
It's a culture, as that's what Sean Stevens described it.
You got to win together.
In the pregame show. You have to win together, that's correct. And we're just about to get started here with the left-hander Brady Garcia on the mound. 6'5", 200, sophomore. And just about to get going here. Second day of Coastal Plain League action. First game for the HiToms. First ever game for the Uwharrie Wampus Cats. I'm just going to keep saying it because it's so fantastic.
Yeah, it's something unique, You especially now, you don't see too many new teams come around, especially in the Coastal Plain Leagues. It's more teams that leave. Of course, the Wampus Cats aren't coming to the CPL, but it's cool to have a new team and the HiToms are playing.
And certainly early in the season, you want to get those non-conference games before it's, super stressful games. Uwharrie just about 45 minutes from Finch Fields here in Thomasville. Last few warm-up tosses, and we are very much about to get set underway. So first pitch is going to be around 6:40. Originally scheduled for 6:30, pushed back to 6:35. And now we will be starting around 6:40. AJ, this is really exciting.
Absolutely, first game of the year, new team. What more could you ask?
And we'll get going on a lot of these players. Certainly, there's interesting stories all around, but when you get a new franchise, you're just picking up players wherever you can, and that creates an interesting dynamic of a bunch of players who play college combined into a collegiate baseball team.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you'll hear throughout the night and when, these guys come up to bat, is a lot of them are from the same school, mostly all in North Carolina. It makes sense. New team, you want to get all those guys from a homegrown area, the same state, just to, start things out as easy and smooth as you possibly can.
And here comes Eli Harpellini to lead off the game against the left-hander Brady Garcia. Number 1 steps into the box hitting first. First pitch about to get underway with Garcia. Got a long hair, tucks it back. Here comes the left-hander's first delivery. A rocker and a fire, and a strike down the outside corner. 0-1.
Guess it's important to mention now, but this year there will be a pitch clock in the CPL, and it will be included in this game as well.
Absolutely. That's going to be a big thing. Maybe not so much early in the game, but later in the game it will matter. As the next pitch is fired in, same spot, same result. 0-2 on Harpellini.
A lot of these guys have never, been with a pitch clock before because collegiately it's not brought in yet or hasn't brought in.
0-2, Garcia winds, and here comes the 0-2 delivery inside. Ball 1. 1-2 is just getting going. No score. Top of the first here at Finch Fields. 1-2 pitch from Garcia. The wind and the fire, and fouled off to the right side. Way behind the stands here in HiToms City. Harpellini goes to Catawba. As we mentioned, that's a very
plenty of guys
guy.
going to Catawba for the Wampus Cats.
Hit .286 this year, 14 for 49, 5 doubles. That pitch is inside, nearly hit Harpellini. It must have just missed the front of his pant leg. Looked like it was real close, and it's now 2-2 on Harpellini, so a really good first at-bat for the Wampus Cats.
Yeah, Garcia looking a little nervous here early on. These last 2 pitches have been, one was way inside, and that one almost a wild pitch.
And keep in mind, not playing for an entire collegiate season, this is where you get the practice, but it's so hard to just start up again. Here comes the 2-2. And that pitch did not hit him either. It looked like very close. AJ, what'd you think?
I thought he got hit. I thought that hit him, but not. I guess not.
That looked like it bounced directly off the front of his pant leg.
I could have swore it did, but I guess not.
Maybe it bounced right in front of the plate where it
perhaps
had that illusion. But either way, the count is full on the first batter of the game. The first ever batter in Wampus Cats franchise history. 3-2 pitch from Garcia. Here it comes. It's inside, ball 4. It's a leadoff walk for Uwharrie.
Well, for Garcia, it started off well. He got 2 early strikes, but then things fell behind, and he fell behind in the count. And Wampus Cats got first batter in franchise history, goes on base.
That's a good start.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better one.
Ik Siriemi is next up. Ik Siriemi, second batter of the inning for the Wampus Cats. Runner on first is Harpellini. Leadoff runner aboard on a walk. It was a very long at-bat. So now, the next pitch comes in. It's on the inside corner for a strike for Garcia.
No. It was a really short one.
Siriemi didn't really agree with that call. Gave a look at the home plate umpire, but either way, it's 0-1 with the leadoff runner on. Garcia takes a look at first. Runner takes off for second. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Throw down to second is in time to get the runner. A really good throw behind the plate by Estadio.
that should help Garcia too. When you see your defense helping you out there getting out, and it should help calm his nerves down, and now he can really get into his approach to this game.
Yeah, and part of that is when a runner knows they're stealing. Serini was taking a swing at the pitch to try to distract the catcher, but for Estadio, was right on the money with the throw as that pitch is outside. It's now 1-2 on Serini. But Estadio cuts down Harpolini after the walk given up by Garcia. Here's Garcia's 1-2 pitch. Curveball is down and in. Ball 2. It's even. Sereno fouls it off. Stays at 2-2.
Sereno spent his first 2 years in college at Wake Tech. He's done pretty well. Hasn't gotten too many starts yet, but still young.
Right, and that's a lot of where the collegiate baseball comes in. You don't get the super talented players don't need as much of this playing. As that's on the inside corner, strike 3. Looked like it was nearly in the right-handed batter's box inner edge, but it's called strike 3, and there's 2 outs in the inning, and the first strikeout for Garcia.
Just the way Garcia wanted to get into this game. Started off a little bumpy, but now he's got 2 outs.
Here's Brayon Ishmael, the left-handed batter up. Lefty-lefty matchup. Here's the delivery in the dirt and outside, ball 1. So the Wampus Cats started with the walk by Harpolini on a long at-bat, was caught stealing by Estadio, and then Sereno struck out looking on a pitch on the inside corner. And that's where we are now, top of the first. No score here at Finch Field. Here's the 1-0. That one's on the ground and chopped foul down the first base line. 1-1 on Brayon Ishmael. Plays at Caldwell Community College. Started 47 games this year. 381 average, 485 on base percentage, 10 homers, 63 RBIs. Monster season.
Yeah, those 47 starts too. That's leading the team.
Experience does matter in every sport, but especially baseball, as that pitch is in the dirt.
Also, having a little bit more experience for a team that hasn't existed at all.
Right. Yes. It's 2-1 now on Ishmael. 2-1 delivery from the left-hander Garcia is hit deep into right field. Back that ball goes near the line and fading foul near the 330 sign in right field. Ishmael knew that it was either foul or it was gone and just stood there in the box.
Yeah, and so too did the right outfielder Darling. He kind of jumped. He's like, uh-oh, where's this one going? But then he saw it, safely traveling foul.
I mean, that was absolutely crushed. 330s to the corners here at Finch Field. About 365 to left and right center gaps, and probably estimate around 405, 410 to straightaway center. Next pitch is just inside. The ball on Ishmael, so he's taking a really good cut, and is taking a couple pitches out of the zone, and the count stands at 2-2.
In this first inning, Garcia, he's gotten ahead of counts, but then he's quickly fallen behind or gotten level with the count.
Garcia throwing a lot of pitches in this first inning, but has looked pretty strong so far. At least a lot of pitches through 3 hitters. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him swing on the breaking ball. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Brady Garcia. And the HiToms will be hitting coming up next here in the bottom of the first. You are listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome back to historic Finch Field, where we're getting a kids pep rally going for the HiToms as they're now up here in the bottom of the first. Uwharrie Wampus Cats didn't score in the top of the first, and now let's get you your HiToms starting lineup. Hitting leadoffs, Bo Davidson. Hitting second, Dylan Lewis. Will Verdung will be hitting third. In the cleanup spots, Dario Astudillo. Hitting fifth, Bryce Davenport. Hitting fourth, Jake Coonan. Hitting seventh, Noah Hill. Hitting eighth will be Ryan White. And rounding out the lineup is Austin Deering. Hitting ninth. They'll be facing Reed Withers.
Now batting for your HiToms, number 3, Bo Davidson.
Reed Withers goes to Catawba. 12 appearances, 5 games started, 2-0 record, 8.28 ERA, 35 strikeouts to 17 walks. So we'll see how he does here. The right-handed pitcher, 5'10", 195. Withers ready to deliver to Davidson. Here's the first pitch. Outside corner, strike one for Withers. Played prep ball at West Forsyth High School, where we saw a lot of the All-Star players play yesterday in the All-Star game we had here at Finch Field.
Local kid.
Here's the next pitch. Pop down the third base line and tails foul. So it's quickly 0-2 on Bo Davidson. Bo Davidson, the left-handed pitcher. 0-2 delivery from Withers is drilled deep into left field. Back they go, and it's over his head. Bo Davidson heading for second, and is in with the leadoff double over the head of Bridges in deep left field. And the HiToms have a runner on right away.
Great start for the HiToms.
Good piece of hitting there. The lefty hits it deep into left field in a leadoff double for the HiToms. So now that brings up Dylan Lewis. Here's the first pitch into Lewis. It's low and inside. Ball one. Dylan Lewis plays at Reinhardt University, the right-handed hitter. 6'1", 195. .0 delivery from Withers. Hammer down the first base line and fouls. Some kids chase after it. A lot of kids here, some adults, a good mix, and really adds up to a pretty full Finch Field.
For an expedition game, this is a really nice crowd on hand. Just shows the excitement people have that HiToms baseball is back.
Yeah, it's really not just the parents. There is a whole community surrounding this Thomasville area team. Here's the 1-1 pitch into Lewis. Just a little bit low. It's 2-1. Two and one on Lewis. Reed Withers starting in the stretch after giving up a lead-up double to Bo Davidson. Here comes the 2-1 pitch into Lewis. It's in the dirt. Ball 3, but a good stop behind the plate by Williams to keep Davidson from advancing to third.
Lewis got all conference first team mentions in his freshman season. A big part of that was because of his 34 RBIs. .3-1 pitch. Lewis in a hitter's count. Here's the 3-1 delivery from the righty Withers. It's outside, ball 4, and the first two have reached for the HiToms. So first and second with no outs, and that brings up Will Verdung.
Now that number 2, Will Verdung.
Verdung plays it at the Wamba Community College. Hit .389 this past season, 49 games started. As that ball's drilled into center field. Back that ball goes, and it's in front of Ishmael. Davidson looking to score from second. Throw to the plate will not be nearly in time as it's cut off at second, and it's runners at the corners with no outs, and the HiToms lead on the RBI single from Will Verdung.
Great hit there from Verdung right into center field. Took a nice hop right in front of the center fielder. And a run scored for the HiToms.
Verdung swinging at the first pitch and drilling it out to center. So two hard hit balls by the HiToms and a walk. And Reed Withers is in trouble to start here in the bottom of the first. 1-0 High-Toms. Runners on the corners, no outs.
Now that Dario Astudillo.
Dario Astudillo now up. And we'll see if Verdun tries to take second here with the runner on third. He does not. As the pitch is right down the middle, strike one. Plays at Seminole State, the right-handed batter for the High-Toms in the NJCAA. In 24 games played, in 197 with 9 RBIs. But of course, the main thing is he's the catcher, so his defense shines as that's outside. 1-1 on Astudillo, and anything they can get from him offensively is sort of that bonus.
Yeah, it's huge, especially in that fourth spot. You know, he'll be in these, hopefully in these positions a lot.
Here's the next pitch in. It's outside on the breaking ball. It's 2-1 on Astudillo. Some early trouble brewing for the Wampus Cats. They led off with a walk in the top of the first and then got cut down at second by who's now up Astudillo. So check back on first, and Verdung's back in time. But there's a lot of people down the left field line. There's a decent amount of people down the right field line. The stands are pretty full, nearly as full as you can get for opening day. Here's the next pitch in. Astudillo is fouled back and away.
Those fans down that left field line will have a ball to catch.
Yeah, they got to back up at this point. I know we've seen a couple that have just gone over us behind in the broadcast booth that just dropped down in the concourse level. Those are definitely the most dangerous ones you'll get.
Don't want your car parked there.
Yeah, that's a good word of advice right there from A.J. Myers. 2-2 pitch to Astudillo. Here it comes. It's high, and the count is full. Runners on the corners. No outs for the High-Toms. A good start. Started with a double by Bo Davidson. Dylan Lewis drew a walk, and Will Verdung knocked in Davidson on an RBI single. And the first three have reached for the High-Toms. Here's the full count delivery, drilled into right field. Coming on, will not able to make the catch as a run scores for the High-Toms on the base hit. And it goes all the way to the wall, past the right fielder Deering. A second run's going to score, and the High-Toms are up 3-0 on a base hit, and then an error by the right fielder, Martin. Man, what a tough play for Uwharrie to start. That I looked down and suddenly the ball was to the right field wall.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, Uwharrie started really well. You know, they got a guy on base, had a good solid first inning. Obviously, didn't score, but unfortunately, this bottom half of the inning isn't going too well for them. But on the High-Tom side, you couldn't have asked for a better start. 3-0 up in the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, that was Isaiah Martin there in right. It looked like he was trying to sort of scoop it to the side instead of getting in front of it, and that ends up costing them an extra run.
Yeah, he almost like waited for the ball to bounce initially, and
and that's where it takes
perhaps maybe drove in that extra run.
Right, so Will Verdung was going first to third anyways, but then scored on the air, and Astudillo is credited with, I guess we're not the official scores, but I'm going to score it as a single in the air, advancing him to second. I don't know what everyone else is. Here's Bryce Davenport. Drills that deep into left field. Coming on is Bridges and lets it go out of play. Probably hit about 280 out there in left field, but right near the Budweiser stand. Place you can buy only alcoholic drinks. Cannot buy them behind us in the broadcast booth. It's Bryce Davenport up. First four have reached for the High-Toms. 3 hits, a walk, and then an error charge to the Wampus Cats have really set this up as the breaking ball's high. It's 1-1. It just seems like the High-Toms are just seeing the ball so well right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good thing, because first game of the season, maybe you're not, up to speed, but they look like they're right on point.
Left-handed Davenport gets ready for the 1-1 as that one's hit on the ground to the second baseman Harpolini. Throws on to first just in time. A little bit of a low throw, but Beber makes a nice catch for out number 1 as Astudillo advances to third, but the Uwharrie records their first ever out in franchise history.
And they needed it. High-Toms are rolling.
That goes 4-3 on the ground out. And that breaks up Jake Coonan, the right-handed batter. Plays at Prince's. That one's hit off the third baseman's glove of Wilson, and that will be another run into score. Coonan gets on first base. We'll see what that's ruled. Does it look like off the glove of Wilson, he was there and just misjudged it?
Yeah, it was almost between the third baseman and the man on first, and then it, hopped right past him. But now, yeah, that's almost 2 balls now from the Wampus Cats that have just slipped by them.
So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. What'd you rule that?
I wouldn't consider that an error. I don't think so.
Okay, we'll call it a base hit. As that next pitch is in for a strike to Noah Hill, as the HiToms are really taking a couple pitches and then swinging away for the most part. That's been the strategy so far, and Kunin's on first base. Already 3 runs in for the HiToms. Rather, 4 runs in. That one hit down the left field line, just going foul. A lot of action out there in left field by Bridges. So Davidson's coming to score. Lewis is coming to score. Verdung is coming to score. Asadillo's coming to score.
Yeah.
First 4 batters reaching home. Not really a good recipe for success if you're the Wampus Cats.
No, not at all. And that last hit, almost a carbon copy of what drove in that 4th run, but that one just bounced foul.
So Noah Hill, the lefty, up. Now behind 0-1. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Runner takes off for second. It'll be an easily with no throw with Kunin.
Celebratory slide there. Didn't really need a slide, but did it just for it.
Yes, you don't know if Williams was going to catch that, but it just bounced off his glove and ends up being an easy stolen base. First of the season for the HiToms, where he was caught stealing in the top of the first. But another runner in scoring position for the HiToms, looking to add on early. 1-1 pitch is fouled straight back right off the top of the grandstand and back onto the field. That was a real dangerous one. If you're under that grandstand, you pretty much have no chance of getting hit. But if you're in front of it,
yeah, you gotta be paying attention. Definitely bring your glove with you if you're in front of that grandstand. That got the crowd up without a doubt.
Because the baseball, although it's hit hard, sometimes it doesn't bounce as far as you think and back on the field. Instead, it goes to the bleachers. Next pitch, inside corner, strike 3. A strikeout for Reed Withers. His first of the game, and that's 2 outs in the inning as he caught him looking.
Hopefully that strikeout does a lot for him, gets him in his zone, as it has been a rough first inning for him.
Is Ryan White now up for the HiToms? The left-hander grounds it towards first base and foul. Again, we thank you for joining us on the HiToms Radio Network. We'll be on Flow Sports tomorrow. Once again, AJ Myers. I'm Adam Oppenheim. We'll be with you there tomorrow as well. Here comes the next pitch into White. Runner takes off for third, and he's in safely once again. It's Jake Kunin's second stolen bag, and the second time it was off the glove of Williams. And there's a lot of repeats in this inning, and it's not just stuff that's ruled to air, but just plays you want to make if you're Uwharrie.
Yeah, and Kunin again opts to slide when he really didn't need to, and that one he almost kind of messed up the slide. It was almost like a face-first slide, and that jersey's very dirty now.
Already, it's soaked pretty much from the shoulder all the way down to his legs. It's dirty because he's slid 2 times.
I guess that's a good thing for a baseball player. You want to get the dirt on the uniform.
Well, that means you're getting on base
Exactly.
also. 4-0 HiToms, and you're in the bottom of the first. A great start for the HiToms, a disastrous start for the Wampus Cats, as that's once again off the glove of Williams, and coming in to score is Kunin. So the classic base hit, double stolen bag, and then score on a pass ball.
Yeah, you were right on cue there. A disastrous start, and it got even worse there as a poor pitch there. That a comfortable score for Kunin.
5-0, the HiToms lead the Wampus Cats.
In only the first inning.
In only the first inning. Man, you just couldn't envision a worse start as here's Ryan White.
He's just now praying for that last out. Just get me out of this inning after giving up five runs.
Two count is fouled off. Here comes the next pitch into Ryan White. Oh, that almost hit him. It might have. Either way, it was ball 4, so Ryan White draws the walk. Apologize, that was actually 3 balls, 2 strikes, not 2 and 2. And that brings up Austin Deering hitting 9th. So the HiToms have nearly batted around, by my definition of batting around, which is getting back to the first person who batted.
Yep, and that top of the lineup was scary for the HiToms. They all scored.
So I think it's fair to say Reed Withers should try to find a way to get out of this thing, just giving up the 5, which is a giant number, but if you can get your bats back up and give them a chance to get back in this, because that's a lined past Uwharrie's dugout, and foul. Austin Deering plays at State College of Florida. 6'1", 205, the lefty. Pretty lanky lefty, might I add. As that pitch is in the dirt for a ball.
Yeah, you can see all that 6'1" frame in the batter's box as well.
I think he looks a little bit taller than 6'1".
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
So the HiToms have scored 5 in this inning. 0-1 pitch is in for a strike. So all the commotion was going on. We didn't even get you the Wampus Cats fielder, so we'll hopefully be able to do that at the end of this inning. But there's been so much action.
Yeah, the commotion of runs being scored by the HiToms.
So Withers set to deliver the pitch. Breaking ball outside. And we'll get you those starters in the outfield from left to right. Bridges, Ishmael Martin. From third to first, Wilson, Sereno, Harpellini, and Beber. Williams behind the plate, and Withers on the mound, who's set to deliver the 2-2 pitch. Lined into left field. That's going to be a base hit down the line. Deering's going to head for second. He'll be in there easily, and the HiToms now have second and third with 2 outs in the inning, and the inning just keeps on going as White advances to third. It's a double for Deering.
Bridges in that left field corner is getting a lot of work for the Wampus Cats, and you know, every ball, I'm surprised he's not going more left, because a lot of these balls are going away, almost foul, and he's just not running to him quick enough.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of good hitting from the HiToms to the opposite field, and that one was nearly impossible. It's straight out of line, and it brings up Bo Davidson, who doubled in his last at-bat and
which was in this inning.
Came around to score in this inning, right. 5 hits for the HiToms, 2 walks, a couple errors by the Wampus Cats, or near errors. One officially ruled a error. That is outside of Bo Davidson, who really drilled a ball in his first at-bat probably about 10-15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
In real time, I should say. So 5-0 HiToms on, just a raucous start as that one's popped up and foul near the third base fence here at Finch Field. Got the left field fence, a right field fence, center field gate. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I think that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Bo Davidson wears those sweet red sleeves. Love that look.
Matches well with the jersey.
It does, it does. Navy blue and the HiToms red it's 2-1. Here's Bo Davidson looking to add on to lead, second and third for the HiToms with 2 outs. As outside. And it's now 3-1. Man, to go back through and talk about this inning, it's going to take a while.
It may take a whole inning at this rate.
So 3-1 on Bo Davidson. Withers trying not to load the bases, but also not give up a hit. 3-1 pitch is high, and he loads up the bases again.
Well, you almost wonder how much longer Withers is going to be in here. And, well, I was right on cue.
As here comes the manager of the Uwharrie Wampus Cats, and really getting his working right away as Houston Wright to probably have a meeting. I mean, are the Wampus Cats going to make a move right now? It looks like
yeah,
they
it looks
will.
like they are, yeah.
So it was really a disastrous thing. To recap, it was a double followed by a walk, a single, a ground out, a base hit, strikeout looking, walk, double, and a walk. So pretty much getting on base nearly every time.
That inning will not be on Withers' resume, without a doubt. You know, that's when he'll just want to crumble up and throw in the garbage.
And it doesn't end there because he's responsible for all the runners on. He gives up 5 in the inning as we head to the top of the first. Rather, the bottom of the first will stay in here on the HiToms Baseball Network. Stay with us here with the bases loaded. Welcome back to historic Finch Field. This Davis Efer now on the mound after Reed Withers had a really rough start, including giving up 5 earned runs and the bases loaded. Rather, 5 runs, not all of them earned, as that's in for a strike. The first pitch from Davis Efer is Dylan Lewis ready for his second at-bat of the game here in the bottom of the first inning. Walked and came around to score in his first at-bat as that's inside, nearly hit him.
Quite a spot for him to come in the bottom of the first inning with the bases loaded. Not easy at all.
I mean, you think he was expecting to come in bottom one?
No, he was probably, he went to bed last night thinking maybe 5th inning, 6th inning, not...
Maybe at earliest 4th.
Yeah, not bottom of the first, bases loaded.
And especially going against a crowd like this, it can be a little tough, especially as the franchise's first team. So it's 2-1 to Dylan Lewis. Here's the pitch. It's outside. It's 3-1. I'm not sure any other ways to describe this for the Wampus Cats. Is just a disastrous start. Here comes the Rays delivery. It's low, ball 4, and he walks in a run. That's going to be charged to Reed Withers, and he still has 2 more runners on, as we'll see a meeting on the mound between Williams and Eford. That's the second walk of the inning for Dylan Lewis. And it's an RBI walk, in fact. Brings in Ryan White. So now on third base is Austin Deering. On second, Bo Davidson. On first is Dylan Lewis. And it brings up Will Verdung. It was an RBI single in his last at-bat. And then an error by the right fielder, Martin. Isaiah Martin, that advanced him to second. Here's the first pitch in. Dropped by Williams. Very close, but called the ball.
None of these pitches going well for the Wampus Cats at all right now.
And especially if you can't hold that pitch there, the ump, if it's borderline, it's gonna be tough to get that call. So it's 1-0 on Verdung as he fouls it off behind the HiToms dugout. So it's 1-1, and flipping it over to the HiToms, it's a really solid start, and you can't ask for much more if you're head coach Sean Stevens, except maybe some more runs.
Why not? More runs.
You do have the bases low as that one's in the dirt. It's 2-1.
Also, with this kind of start, you can really see your full roster tonight, which is something maybe he wasn't planning on.
That's very true, and talking about not all the whole HiToms roster is up here. They still have a few names that will be coming up fairly soon due to their collegiate baseball seasons going a bit longer, which is a very good thing, as that's popped into right field. Coming on and sliding to not able to make the catch is Beaver, and that will score 2 on the RBI single. Runners were on the move, and it scores 2 on an RBI bloop hit between the first baseman, the second baseman, and the right fielder. Is
a big mix-up there in the outfield. Almost a collision, but it wasn't. But things just are not going right for the Wampus Cats right now. They can't even be on the same page.
As Beber, Harpolini, and Martin converged, looked like it was nearly a sliding catch by Beber, and instead it plates 2 more for the HiToms, and Withers is going to have a classic line of 2/3 of an inning, allowing 8 runs. Impossible to win games like that. No. Nearly. So Deering comes in to score. Bo Davidson a second. Is taking off for a second is Dylan Lewis on the steal. Or rather, Will Verdung on the steal. I apologize. So much action going on here.
Yeah, I believe that's the 3rd steal of the game for the HiToms.
It is the 3rd steal of the game. Coonan had 2, and now Verdung has 1. Zastudillo, the cleanup hitter, who singled and scored in his last at-bat, takes first pitch strike. So now 2nd and 3rd for the HiToms. Bottom of the first, 2 outs, 8-0, Thomasville HiToms.
It's been 2 outs for a while now, and there's been plenty of runs scored with these 2 outs.
Here comes the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. And finally, Eford is ahead of a HiToms hitter, because they've just been falling behind these HiToms hitters, and then they've just been looking fastball and mashing fastball. And Davis Efer was obviously brought in a really tough spot. Here's the next pitch. That's in the dirt. It's 1-2. Efer from Monroe, North Carolina, can also play a little bit of infield. One-two pitch in, swing and a miss. Or rather, foul ball. Did Williams hold on to that, or was that just missed?
I don't know, but it looks as though he definitely got hit though.
Okay, so
a little shooken up.
It must have been a foul ball, so it stays 1-2. And if you're the Wampus Cats, you're thinking, can we just get it out?
Yes, get out of this. Can we go back to the dugout?
Yes. And you got to feel franchise's first game.
And you're already down 8-0. Not a good start.
I mean, can you imagine a worse start, really? It's so tough. 1-2 pitch in Astudillo, and it's outside, ball 2.
I guess a worse start would be a home run. That's one thing that has yet to happen in the Wampus, giving up a home run. They've yet to do that in their franchise history.
That's a good point. So the count is full on Astudillo. 8-0 HiToms. A blowout brewing here in Thomasville. So that's in the dirt. It's a wild pitch. It's a walk. Another run comes in for the HiToms on the wild pitch. Astudillo goes down to first on a walk, and it's 9-0 HiToms. So Lewis comes in to score on the wild pitch, 9-0. Man, I'm just sweating bullets up here, just thinking about all these moving parts going on.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
And if there's a lot going on, it's not a good thing for one of the teams.
No, and that is unfortunately for the Wampus Cats.
Here's Bryce Davenport, takes the first pitch low, 1-0. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. As that's low, and Williams able to hold on. Advancing to second is Astudillo, and the HiToms, they're not laying up.
No, not at all. And why should they really? It's their first game. They wanna bring in the runs.
It's part of the competitive game of baseball, and there's a lot of talk about those sort of things and scoring when you have a big lead. But it's the bottom of the first still.
Yeah.
As that one gets by Williams, it's another wild pitch / pass ball. I don't even want to count how many there's been in this bottom of the first.
It's...
But I'll tell you what, 10-0. Like, what does that say? Oh, that's a 1 followed by that 0?
Yeah, yep. I mean,
10.
you see double digits in baseball, just not in the first inning.
Yeah, you see it with, like, the pitch count or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like, a number, like a player's number on the back of their jersey.
Yep.
But a score in the first, never, as that one's nearly by the catcher Williams, and it is. Another run will come in to score in Astudillo. This is...
This is getting embarrassing now.
This is tough. What do you say at some point as a broadcaster?
I know, yeah.
It's like hit, walk, wild pitch, wild pitch, wild pitch.
It's an exciting game for the HiToms and for all these fans here. There's plenty of runs.
I'm not really sure how exciting this really is for the HiToms. Yeah, they're scoring a lot of runs, but it's just like they're sort of errors.
Yeah,
they're errors that aren't ruled errors.
Yeah, if they're gonna watch some game footage tomorrow, I don't know if they're really gonna look at too much other than a bunch of errors.
Yeah, the film session for the Wampus Cats it's not gonna be pretty.
Maybe they won't have one. I don't know. Maybe this is one you just say.
And speaking of a wild pitch,
there's another one.
Wow, this is something. This is something special.
His first inning has now been about.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you what happened to. Oh, that must have been a walk, followed by a stolen base. So it's Jake Coonan at the plate.
Yeah.
Just to double check with your scorecard as we go along here. Didn't think I'd be using up one column. Certainly didn't think I'd be close to using up
two
the first
columns
and
for,
the second
yes,
inning.
For all players may have 2 columns filled out here.
Well, luckily it's not looking like it's going to be past the 9-inning game.
No, not at all.
So 2-1 on Coonan, and that's in the dirt. A good pick there by Williams. Boy, it's been rough behind the plate for Williams. That's Owen Williams behind the plate. Plays at Ohio. As that's chopped on the ground to third base. Wilson makes the play and retires the side. They put up 2 ones. That's not 2 runs. That's 11. And we head to the top of the second inning. A huge inning for the HiToms, and the Wampus Cats give up a miserable 11 runs here in the bottom of the first. Stay with us here on HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. To the bottom of the second we go. Welcome back to Finch Field. If you misheard me before the commercial or thought you did not. It's 11-0 HiToms as we get to the top of the second inning.
It's historic Finch Field, and that may have been an historic first inning for the HiToms, putting up 11 runs.
Yeah, and like Jackson Green is talking about here in the booth, and this is a big shout out to him, is the HiToms are on pace for 99 runs, although that's including the bottom of the ninth. This scoreboard
Only goes 99.
only goes to 99. And it's a new pitcher in for the HiToms. William Sword as Brady Garcia's day is done after 1 inning pitched. A strikeout, a walk. 2 strikeouts and a walk as that one's hit on the ground. To the HiToms at second base. They get him just in time as Hill came charging in. A little bobble. But gets the runner at first and Owen Williams. That was a really close play at first.
Yeah, good play there from the HiToms. Getting him out.
Any way to get done as it goes 4-3. And also, we had someone time how long that inning was. Jackson Green, who's currently PA announcing, had it at 40 minutes. I'm going to want you to guess how many times you think we're going to have a 40-minute half inning this year.
Well, hopefully the next half inning isn't 40 minutes. That's what I'm worried about. We could have another 40-minute half inning.
That's true. Yeah. I'm going to say we have 2 more 40-minute half innings this year, and that's going to be on the record.
On the record.
On the record.
I'm more concerned about the next half inning for the Wampus Cats and how long that one may be.
So it's B.J. Williams now up after Owen Williams takes the first pitch outside. Now takes the second pitch up high. It's 2-0. That was just man, didn't even have time to add up.
It was an exhausting inning.
Reed Withers' stats at the end of that one, but I do know it was 8 runs he allowed, and Eford allowed 3. All those being earned. That's in for a strike. 2-1. It's William Sword, the right-hand pitcher, 6-0 out of Cary, North Carolina, as that pitch comes inside and clips B.J. Williams. So a hit by pitch on a 2-1 pitch. William Sword currently pitches at Princeton.
Now batting, number 23.
So a hit by pitch gives the Wampus Cats their second run of the game. Their first was Harpolini to start off the game on a walk and then got caught stealing. I feel like the difference so far in this game, besides the hitting, is just the clean plays in the field so far. And of course, the HiToms have
the run scoring.
I mean, the run scoring. I mean, that's thanks, AJ. that was an obvious one, but yes. Just the defense and the HiToms have been putting more balls in play and just keeping the line moving.
Exactly.
As that's popped up down the first base line and foul right behind the fence. That's quite a some feet away from the HiToms dugout. William Sword was a 3-time All-State before joining Princeton. As that's drilled down to right center field, that's going to get down for a base hit for Bieber, and he'll hold at first base, and it's runners on the corners with 1 out. And just like that, the Wampus Cats are cooking with something.
Hey, they needed something, and they finally got a guy in scoring position, so that should be a big relief for them.
Now batting, number
Even with the score at 11-0.
So it's Isaiah Martinez. Weber gives the Wampus Cats their first ever franchise hit. How about that? And it was a ball that went to right center that could have been extra bases, but a good play made it out by the HiToms in right center. Isaiah Martin takes first pitch strike. Catches the outside high corner. 11-0 HiToms. Top of the second inning. But runners on the corners for the Wampus Cats, looking for their first ever run in franchise history, as that pitch is inside. His Sword gets ready to deliver the pitch. That's outside, and it's 3-1. Rather, 2-1. Here's the home plate umpire signals. I thought it was 3-1, but guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Wampus Cats will take it.
Isaiah Martin drills it out to center field. Davidson coming on. Shading over to his left. He makes the catch, and no runner will tag.
Good communication there from Davison and Darling out in the outfield. Darling calling for that ball and running over and getting a clean catch.
Now bat, number 25, Aiden Wilson.
So now 2 outs in the inning as B.J. Williams not deep enough to tag, and obviously don't want to test Davidson's arm out there in center field. Here's Aiden Wilson. Goes to Catawba Valley. Hit 222 on the year. 10 for 44. 2 doubles as a swing to miss strike 1. No triples or home runs. And he's struck out in around 30% of his plate appearances. But has that collegiate action for the Wampus Cats. And bring it to summer balls. That's taken in for strike 2. So the Wampus Cats, they've had the hit by pitch by B.J. Williams and went first to third on the deep single into right center by Beber. And Aiden Wilson looking to give the Wampus Cats on the board and try to chip away at this lead. And that's all you can do, 1 run at a time, because you ain't getting 11 runs back in one swing.
No, definitely not. But hey, 1 run at a time, who knows? By 9, we may have an 11-11 game.
Here's the next pitch in Aiden Wilson. Breaking ball called. Strike 3 on the outside corner. And Sword gets out of the inning, allowing no runs, and the HiToms are back up to bat. Uwharrie Wampus Cats hoping for a different result instead of giving up 11 runs. Stay with us here in the bottom of the second inning, here from historic Finch Field. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome back to Finch Field. Adam Oppenheim alongside A.J. Myers for opening day, which has been a major success so far for the HiToms, up 11-0 in the bottom of the second inning. New pitcher on the mound for the Wampus Cats is Evan Davidson, the lefty. His first pitch is low to Noah Hill. And it's now 1-1 as that pitch was fired in there on the outside part for a strike. Evan Davidson, a freshman, as that pitch is outside, 2-1. Didn't get any action this year, but recorded .230 batting average during his senior season and finished with a 4.88 ERA, and pitching is his specialty. Really just listed as a pitcher so far. Usually it's high school, you can play both, and then once you transfer into college, I mean,
you get narrowed down to that one position.
And how many times do you grade at both?
Rare.
Probably not that often. That's where you get to those Otani levels, as that's a walk to lead off for Noah Hill. So not a good start, I will say, for the Wampus Cats. So last inning for the HiToms, they went through 15 hitters. It was also just announced that the teams agreed upon. The game will end if it's 10 runs after 5. So if the scores, for example, now it's 11-0, that pitch is outside to Ryan White. If the Wampus Cats score 2 and it's 11-2 going in the 5th, we just keep going. If it's 11-0, 11-1, 12-1, anything like that, 10 or more, then the game will end at the conclusion of the top of the 5th inning.
That'll be a relief for the Wampus Cats knowing that the score won't get, I mean, it already, of course, is ugly, but it won't get embarrassingly ugly, I guess you could say.
As that pitch is in for a strike on the outside corner, and 1-2. And you got to think the key for the Wampus Cats is just throw strikes and give your fielders a chance, because there's been too many free passes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A disgusting breaking ball from Ryan White. Or to strike out Ryan White.
White not too pleased after that at bat. He was rather frustrated walking back to the dugout, throwing his bat into the ground.
A really good pitch there by Davidson. Probably the best pitch we've seen from either team here today.
Yeah, that was a nice pitch.
Here's Austin Deering, and ninth hitter in the lineup, wearing number 9. He's fouled down the third base line. 0-1 on Deering. 11-0 HiToms, and the Wampus Cats, if they could put up a couple more scoreless innings, you got to think they could, build off something for, pitching. You always got to look for a positive in situations. That one's in the dirt, and we'll get away. That will be a wild pitch, I would say. There's been some pass balls, but that one was spiked into the dirt, and Hill advances to second. It's just been a lot of mental errors because, really, the HiToms,
they've been playing well, there's no denying it, but they've got those 11 runs off of the Wampus Cats' errors.
Right, there's been a lot of hits in this game. I mean, 7 hits is no joke, but then you add in like 5 or 6 free passes and 5 or 6 wild pitches.
A few errors, maybe.
And the air, and then suddenly it just exploded from a 4 or 5 run inning to 11. So Austin Deering, the lefty at the plate.
Yes, Greg.
2-1 on Deering. Lefty on lefty matchup. Catches the outside corner strike, too. You can see Deering just sort of that knee bend that's like, oh, that's really there. And home plate umpire says, yes, sir.
Play a song and let you do your thing. All right, sounds good.
2-2 on Austin Deering. Top of the lineup with Bo Davidson on deck. Probably didn't think he'd get 3 at-bats through 2 innings, but it's a possibility. 2-2 pitch. Outside. And the count runs to full. Got to put something in here to the strike zone if you're Evan Davidson. Here comes the pitch from Davidson. Fouled straight back into the net.
That one had us jumping. It was straight back.
Right on that pitch was Deering. We'll do the full count delivery again from Davidson. Outside corners, cause strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Evan Davidson, and there's 2 outs in the inning.
2 quick outs for Uwharrie, which is a good thing. They haven't seen too much of that. And you can see the competitiveness also from the HiToms. Both of those batters who struck out, they were frustrated. You know, they still want to drive in runs.
And that's a good mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be playing some great teams in the Coastal Plain League. Not to say Uwharrie isn't that, but if you're starting a franchise, you're not just going to be really, really good. You got to build it up somehow. And the HiToms have done that for years. I mean, there's a reason it's called Historic Finch Field and not just Finch Field. It's Historic Finch Field. Bo Davidson on the ground to the shortstop, Sereno. On a first in time to catch the speedy Davidson to retire the side. So how about that? Uwharrie gives up 11 in the bottom of the first and 0 in the bottom of the second. And we'll head into the top of the third as we move along here at Finch Field. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome back to Finch Field. New pitcher on the hill. Once again for the HiToms, it's Aaron Boster, the left-handed pitcher. So these teams just cycling through pitchers. I guess that's what happens in an exhibition game. But Aaron Boster, the 6'3", 250-pound right-hander. Quite a few people over 6 feet, but he's the second tallest person currently on the HiToms roster. Goes to Wilmington College from Mason, Ohio. And is set to face Garrison Bridges at the plate. Hitting ninth. Wilmington Quakers he plays for. As that's in for a strike. A swing and a miss, strike two. Appeared in 13 games. All 13 appearances were starts. 5-4, 72 innings pitched with a 6 flat ERA and 73 strikeouts. So that's just off the outside corner, ball two. Once again, thank you for joining here on the HiToms Radio Network. currently a sophomore, is Boaster, as that's fouled away. But his freshman year, he appeared in 9 games with 7 starts as a freshman. Struck out 29 and 32 and 2/3, so
Pretty impressive.
it's fair to say the strikeouts, he's not a ground ball or flyout pitcher.
No.
He's a strikeout pitcher. Power. As that power leads it to a ground ball to second, where Hill picks it up and flips over to first for out number 1. So some weak contact, goes 4-3, and an easy first out for the HiToms.
Now that Eli Harpanelli.
So this is Eli Harpanelli, who hit about an hour and 10 of real time in the top of the first, where he walked and then proceeded to get thrown out trying to steal second off Tharmastadillo. Breaking ball. It's a beautiful curve in for strike 2. And it's quickly 0-2 on Harpellini.
Let's go, Will. Come on, sword. Wait, this isn't even this is sword. This isn't here. I was trying to figure out what
Here's the next pitch. It's high on the fastball. It's 1-2.
Yeah.
1-2 pitch from the lefty. Another breaking ball. That one's hanging, and that one's crushed into left field. HiToms giving chase. It's onto the hill. Here comes Harpellini into second. Here comes a throw. They got him. What a throw from the outfield. Lewis on a cannon, and a strike to second base.
Well, the offense has been great for the HiToms, and now the defense showing up. Excellent play there. Good throw from the outfield, and a perfect slide, but it was called for an out.
Harpellini hit it about 380, but can't even get to second because of that Hill kind of drew the ball back down, and Lewis made a strike to Hill for an emphatic second out, because that was a mistake pitch by Boaster. It was a hanging breaking ball that went right into the barrel.
That's when you know things aren't going your way, though. When you think you have a surefire double, and then you don't.
I mean, that should be a double. If you hit a 385 into a gap.
But not at historic Finch Field.
I guess so. Well, we'll see if that plays out like that. But that ball was hit really well by Harpellini. And, you know, that could have been the home run at some other ballparks that, you know, you just pull it a little more, or the fence is just a little bit closer. So rules is a base hit and then thrown out. 7-4. Just a tough way to make out. He's gotten thrown out on the base pass twice. And now striking out is Sereno, looking to retire the side. So Wampus Cats still looking for a run across for the first ever franchise run, but it will not happen in the top of the third. HiToms still lead 11-0 as we head into the bottom of the third inning here from historic Finch Field. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Welcome back to HiToms Baseball. Dylan Lewis will lead off the bottom of the third inning. And it's Evan Davidson still on the mound. He's first player in this game has gone into the second inning of work The right-hand batter drills the first pitch into left field. It's a base hit on the line. And the leadoff runner, again, is aboard. It's the third straight inning the leadoff runner has been aboard. Double in the first, leadoff by Davidson. A walk in the second by Hill. And now a base hit to lead off the bottom of the third by Lewis.
Now that number 2, Wilbur Dung.
Wilbur Dung now up. Takes the first pitch high. Like I mentioned, plays it at Wamba Community College, and 65 runs batted in, 58 runs, and just that power hitter in the team. About 1 every 3 games he hits a homer, as that gets by the catcher Williams. Stop me if you've heard that before.
Nah, I've lost count of how many times that's happened tonight.
And those are the plays. Like, you can allow, the hits. You give credit where it's due. The HiToms are hitting the ball well, but when you feed into that with offense, like, there's usually no chance if a collegiate team matches up, as that's hit right on the line to short. Double off at second, not in time. It's a lineup for Verdung, and Lewis just gets back in time. Boy, that was a close. I really thought he was out at second.
Yeah, that was tight.
So it's a line out to the shortstop, Sereno. But like I was mentioning, if you match up 2 collegiate teams, the only way for a team to score 11 runs most likely is by mistakes. Right. That's a great way to put it.
The Wampus Cats, they fueled the HiToms offense. It was great going in. They were going to get runs, but they fueled it with the wild pitches and the poor fielding at times as well.
And they instill confidence as Astudillo takes the pitch inside. So the HiToms, they've been on a scoreless streak. I mean, they haven't scored since the first.
That's concerning.
That was 5 outs ago. They didn't put up 11 in that inning, but really, if the HiToms tack on a couple more, they're in a good position to close us on 5. Once again, we had the ruling. I believe it was after the first, as that pitch is in for a strike to Astudillo.
Yeah, it was right at the conclusion of the first. You saw the 2 managers meet right at home plate to discuss it.
And it was 10 after 5 was the ruling. It's currently 11-0 in the bottom of the third. Runner on second is Lewis. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, chopped down the third base line, and foul. But you get a lot of pitchers, some action. I think that's part of it. If these managers think they're going 5, why not throw out 4 or 5 arms?
Yeah, you really get
inning.
to. Coach Stevens can really get to see the roster he has.
Astudillo just misses the outside corner. It's 3-2 on the catcher. Every HiTom has reached base. Whether walk, hit, and a lot of times they've moved all the way around 270 feet to home. Checks his swing, called on a second, not in time, as the Wampus Cats are unhappy that they called a check swing on Astudillo, thought he went around. The umpire was right behind the pitcher's mound, which is not exactly a great angle, because the reason the home plate umpire doesn't know about the check swing is because they have that vertical direction. You need the horizontal, but the problem is the one other umpire we have here is behind the pitcher's mound, which is also the horizontal direction, or the vertical direction.
Nobody's got a good eye on it.
So it's a walk by Astudillo. First and second went out for Bryce Davenport. Grounded out in the first and walked in the first. Popped up down the third base line and foul into the concourse level. Once again, thank you for joining on the HiToms radio. It's been filled with plenty of action.
One-sided action, you can definitely say.
Yes, but, we previewed it going in with the Uwharrie Wampus Cats. If you didn't join us there, it's first ever game in franchise history. All new players, new manager, which let's get into a little later here, is that the 0-2 pitch has popped up and foul.
And it's unfortunate for the Wampus Cats. Not how you want to start your first ever game, and you just peer over to their dugout. Everyone looks pretty deflated, and it's a different vibe. We were here for BP earlier in the day, and they were playing football, a little cornhole. They looked really ready and excited to go today, but obviously the mood has changed.
And that's part of it when you said schedule exhibition games. You want your team to get better, and sometimes That's playing teams you know have a little more talent than you, but you can close the gap by not making errors, and that's where it went wrong for the Wampus Cats. That pitch is in the dirt. But it's managed by Houston Wright, who enters his first season as the coach for the Wampus Cats. Obviously, it's a new franchise, but whose first season as assistant coach at Catawba. So that's outside again and low from Davidson. But in 2019, Wright earned Region 10 Player of the Year and was named an NJCAA All-American. That's right. He played in college in 2019. But he also played in college in 2022. That's even crazier. And is now coaching
Now he's in the dugout, yep.
Some of the guys who play for Catawba and a couple from Spartanburg Methodist, where he also played. So I think I calculated it was about 40% of the roster is from those schools. And you got to think maybe 20% played with him, as that's hit into right field. That's a big hit for Davenport. That will score one for the HiToms. They're going to wave around a second. Here comes Astudillo. Here's the throw to the plate. It's not in time. It's a 2 RBI double for Bryce Davenport. And the HiToms extend the lead. It's now 13-0.
Good contact there from Davenport, getting the double and driving home those 2 runs.
And that was a ball that bounced in the grass and went all the way to the wall. I guess that's the difference between the hit we saw from Harpolini. That was just a missile, and that was hit pretty hard, but it bounced and then went away.
Bounces just aren't going the Wampus Cats' way.
I mean, it's fair to say that pretty much, everything's not going their way, including some of the 50-50 things. That was nearly a close play at the plate. Here's Jake Coonan, fouls it off. It's 1-1.
It'll be a quick turnaround for the Wampus Cats. They play tomorrow. They go away to the Carolina Disco Turkeys, so hopefully then they can get a better result.
And that's also a team in the Coastal Plain, I believe. But the HiToms will play Wake Fungo tomorrow here at Historic Finch Field. That one's scored by Williams, not able to keep it fully in front of him. And advancing to third is Davenport.
It's been a tough day for Owen Williams at catcher spot. He's had to jump out of his stance quite a few times, and I think definitely he'll want to maybe talk over tonight or tomorrow. Just get on the same page with his pitchers, because I feel like this whole game he hasn't quite been on the same page as them and where these pitches are going.
And it's hard to stay in your stance. Oh, as that bat comes flying out of the hands of Coonan right near the Wampus Cats dugout. Hello! Through your living room, but doesn't hit a Wampus Cats player. Boy, a dangerous play.
A very dangerous play. It almost hit somebody in the Wampus Cats dugout. He was lucky to jump out of the way, but that bat slipped right out of his hands and went flying.
Boy, what a crazy play there.
Seen quite a few things tonight, that's for sure.
And that's why people are worried about that on-deck circle, because if someone was standing in that on-deck circle...
Yeah, it was going right to him.
I mean, I guess you got to put your hands up and do something, but Coonan's bat coming right at him as that's fouled off. Down the third base line and away, foul behind the bleachers where there's people peering over the fence looking for it. Crowd's still pretty full. Some has migrated down the left field line to maybe get some drinks and food. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, so Coonan strikes out swing. That time he holds on to his bat and
thankfully
walk back to the dugout with it in his hand.
Yes.
But more importantly for the Wampus Cats, out number 2. Here's Noah Hill. HiToms scored 2 in the inning, and the Wampus Cats give up the big 11 spot in the bottom of the first. That's where we stand. 13-0 is that hits Noah Hill. It's like on the elbow pad on the first pitch. And another free pass is aboard for the HiToms. And that's something you don't want to see earlier in the season. You want to get on, but the hit by pitch is probably the worst way to.
Oh, absolutely. And, we've seen 2 dangerous plays. A bat go flying into the Wampus Cats dugout, and now Noah Hill got hit, and he seems to be a little shooken up. He's talking to the first base coach. That one definitely stung. Umpires just having a quick talking with the pitcher there, just making sure that he stays calm and Doesn't have any more wild or bad pitches.
I mean, you think if you're the Wampus Cats, I mean, how many pitchers are you planning to pitch? Like, you're probably not going to be in the game for a while. You think you're pitching like maybe 3, 4? Not like 7 or 8.
No, not at all.
As that's drilled through the right side, that's a base hit for Ryan White. Another run comes in to score. Moving over to third goes Noah Hill on the base hit, and it's 14-0.
And this is looking eerily similar to the bottom of the first for the Wampus Cats. It started off well, but then they started making mistakes. A few pitches going by the catcher, a hit by batter, and as we were saying, these runs, good HiToms offense, but the Wampus Cats, their own errors are causing their own downfall right now.
And that might be the end of the day for Evan Davidson. So there's a meeting on the mound. He didn't move through the second, cleanly giving up no runs, but has given up 3 here in the bottom of the third. Got to think if they started with him, I mean, you have a chance to get some outs and be in the game. Instead, it's a big 1-4 on the board to 0. Well, it looks like Davidson will stay in. Once again, we appreciate everyone joining, and we'll be on Flow Sports tomorrow. We did also have a pregame show if you're interested in us talking with head coach Sean Stevens, the first-year manager for the HiToms. We have that up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all our platforms.
Yeah, looking forward to getting to know Coach Stevens. He seems like a really good guy, and should be fantastic getting to know him throughout the season.
And great for the clubhouse. You need a manager who knows the kids and cares about how they do. Because not only is it coaching, you're spending days with these kids, especially in summer ball, and you're helping them secure not only practice, but getting to the next level. Because a lot of times they want to transfer out of there, move over to this certain university, and this is sort of foundation. Or for some people, they're right where they want to be. They just want some more swing, some more fielding, some more pitching.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of aspects with summer ball, and I think Coach Stevens does a great job with the players, making sure they're comfortable with everything, with living and obviously on the field.
Here's Austin Deering.
And we also, as we mentioned earlier, he has that winning mentality. He knows what it takes to win.
It's 3-1 on Deering, but like you mentioned, he knows what it's like to win. He was the Guilford Blue Ticks head coach, 2019 Old State League runner-up. Brewster Whitecaps as assistant coach, as that's fouled back, and it's a full count on Deering. For the Whitecaps, 2021 Cape Cod League champions as an assistant coach. At Keystone College, where he was a pitching coach / recruiting coordinator, he was the athletic conference champions in 2021. And 2021 NCAA Division III regional runner-up. So that's fouled off again. But you add up all those things and those different experiences.
You couldn't ask for a better coach for the HiToms.
Right. The culture, the coaching, the caring.
Hopefully should be a recipe for success.
And really, the Wampus Cats, they're trying to follow that footprint. Here's another full count pitch, foul back again. 3 straight foul balls on full counts. So a long at bat here for Austin Deering. Next pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 3, got him to chase high and tight. And the Wampus Cats get out of the inning. The HiToms score 3 more. They lead 14-0. And a reminder, the game will end if it's 10 runs after 5. Currently 14-0 as we head into the top of the 4th. Stay with us here. You're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiTom Radio Network. Welcome back to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. 14-0. The HiToms lead the Uwharrie Wampus Cats in their first ever game in franchise history. Breon Ishmael's ready for his third at-bat. Hits the first pitch on the ground on a couple of hops to Coonan. Throws over to first to retire Ishmael on the first pitch. One out here, top of the fourth. Graham Brown, new pitcher in for the HiToms, 6'3", 170 out of Harrisburg, North Carolina. Sophomore. Plays baseball at Cleveland Community College, and so far doesn't have a lot of action with that team, but has some action here with the HiToms in the top of the fourth with one out. And that brings up the lefty Owen Williams. One knows that pitch was inside to Owen Williams. Two Williams back-to-back here. As that's high and away. It's now 2-0. Fourth pitcher for the HiToms. There's been three for the Wampus Cats. Just surprisingly, for some point, because the HiToms are up 14-0, but also getting more arms in.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the Wampus Cats, they had to go into that rotation in the first inning, so eventually you have to just put your foot off the gas a little and keep guys in there, even if you don't really necessarily want to.
Yeah, at some point it just feels like you need a pull of guys that's in for a strike. And that pitch is also in for a strike on fastball catching the outside corner. But Reed Withers had a troubling start, only 2/3 of inning, allowing 8 runs, a bunch of those being earned. It's 1-2 on now Owen Williams. Here's the pitch from Brown, foul off into the netting, and takes a bounce on top of the Wampus Cats dugout.
Wampus Cats dugout had a bat flying towards them, and now the ball bouncing right in front of them.
And it'll be interesting to see how this team looks at the end of the season. As that's in for strike 3 on a strike 3, looking to Owen Williams. But like we mentioned about the HiToms, it's interesting to see how they would finish. But for the Wampus Cats, I mean, you start from nothing.
I mean, look, everyone's got to start somewhere, no matter what you're doing. And for the Wampus Cats, unfortunately, it's a difficult defeat to the Thomasville HiToms.
And obviously, it's not over. But like we mentioned, 10 after 5. Now you're really running out of time. You need to score fourth in the next inning, possibly, as that one's skied into right field near the warning track, near the wall, and making the catch is Deering. Boy, a ball that looked like an easy pop flying to right field took Deering all the way back to the wall, and he makes the catch on the warning track. But a 1-2-3 inning from Graham Brown as we head into the bottom of the fourth inning. 14-0 HiToms. You're listening to the HiToms Baseball Radio Network. Garrett Swink on the mound for Uwharrie. Next up in line out of their pen. So we get set to go here in the bottom of the fourth. Just a quick recap to how we got here. Started with Uwharrie's first ever base runner. It started at walk, caught stealing, and then shortly after that inning ended, the HiToms got up. Hits, walks, errors by Uwharrie. Led to 11-run inning. And the HiToms tacked in 3 in the bottom of the third. And that's where we stand now, 14-0. It's now our 8th pitcher of the game, and Garrett Swink, who pitches into Bo Davidson. 4th at-bat in 4 innings. Garrett Swink, the sophomore, 6'2", 170, the right-hand pitcher. So that pitch is outside, quickly 2-0 on Davidson. 11 appearances, 1 start, 2-2, 4.20 ERA, and 40 2/3. 33 strikeouts. Davidson crushes that ball to center, but sliding over is Ishmael a little bit to his right to make the catch for out number 1. So a hard out, but the Wampus Cats record it the first time they've gone the first batter of the inning out.
Welcome out there, getting it right away.
Yeah, and you gotta wonder how they're feeling over there on that sideline. That coaching staff of led by Houston Wright. And here's Dylan Lewis.
Yeah, Wampus Cats head coach Houston Wright getting thrown right into the fire, really.
Dylan Lewis takes first pitch outside, ball 1. So far as that pitch is low, base hit and 2 walks. Not a bad day, but kind of what a lot of the HiToms look like at this point, so it doesn't really stand out when you see, on your scorecard a bunch of around the bases. Got to work on those diagonal lines because you're getting a lot of exercise.
Exactly.
It's now 3-0 on Dylan Lewis. Speaking of,
yeah, can't say there's been a standout player for the HiToms tonight because everybody has chipped in with her getting on base and scoring.
That ball's hit deep into right field. Back that ball goes near the wall. It's gone. The HiToms' first home run of the year comes off the bat of Dylan Story. A blast. And the HiToms tack on another.
Yeah. Let's go.
Right fielder Martin just he made a few steps backwards, looked up, and then he knew it. That ball was going over the wall. And that's the cherry on top for the HiToms, you'd say, getting a home run.
Absolutely, and for Dylan Story, a blast. And like you mentioned, it was Martin who just took a couple steps in. Had a feeling that ball was way out of here. So the first home run for the HiToms, and like you mentioned, cherry on top, 15 runs. And now Uwharrie needs 6 runs to extend it at least if they can get the final 2 outs of this inning.
I think we can safely say this will probably be the HiToms' last time up at bat tonight.
I think that's also fair to say, but
crazier things have happened, right?
Maybe. The way this game has been looking, if you go up 11-run inning, how many teams win? Probably 0, but and Dylan Lewis I think it's fair to say he's now the standout player if you hit that home.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
As that one's fouled away. But plays at Reinhardt University. 13 homers in 49 games this year, and that's his first of his collegiate season. So make that 14 total. It's Will Verdung now up. An opposite field home run, though, by Dylan Lewis as Verdung walks.
22 is asking the, I gotta change his name. Now batting, Dario Astudillo.
Dario Astudillo next up for the HiToms. In the bottom of the fourth, 15-0. Another quick reminder. It's 10 runs after 5 to end the game as a friendly agreement between the coaches.
I was gonna say for a CPL league, these are some crazy dimensions. You're not gonna see many homers not at all.
And that ball was way over that right field wall, too. That was way out into that street on Ballpark Road.
Yeah, maybe maybe one baseball out there.
Yeah, and we're both not from this area, but we both know why we know Ballpark Road, and that's because of navigation.
Exactly.
We're that much off the rails that we're talking about
Yeah,
navigation.
We could go into a lot about the HiToms organization.
That's right. The whole HiTom city is quite the operation, including some sweet batting cages behind as well.
Just finished that new facility. It looks really nice, and just an added benefit. Not too many teams in the Coastal Plain League will have these facilities that the HiToms have, so that should only benefit the team this year.
Right, and it benefits Astadio with another walk.
Exactly.
Not sure how, but it just does. So it's 15-0. HiToms now first and second after 2 straight walks after the homer by Lewis. That brings up Bryce Davenport and Uwharrie. You're thinking they're probably not going to stay around for the fireworks show.
Probably not, no. I mean, the fireworks, this 15 runs, that's plenty of fireworks right there. But, you could start the Wampus Cats' bus right now because they're going to want to get out of here.
And the sky's not even dark.
No, yeah.
I mean, the sun doesn't set for another 15, 30 minutes. Davenport rips it down the first base line. A fair ball past the diving glove of Beber. 1 run's going to come in to score. Astudillo's going to be held up at third. It's an RBI double for Davenport. How about another? 16-0.
Why not? And Beber, he was so close to that one, too. If he just got a little bit quicker to it, I think he could have made a really good grab, but that one just flies by him.
And all these close plays, too. There's been a lot in the field. They just haven't been able to catch. There was that one out in right field that the outfielder and 2 infielders converged. That one, there was one at third base that could have been made a play on. There was one in the outfield that was an error, as that's off the ground and past the catcher, and it's another wild pitch. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
These pitches are becoming comical now, and
it's just the spiking directly into the.
I've never seen the ball bounce so much in front of home plate before.
It's like they don't practice on a mound that's elevated.
I know, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm just confused as all the listeners here. Like, I can't explain what's happening. I know that's my job, but what is going on?
You got another mound visit, and that's been quite a few now.
But what are you going to do? Take him out of the game?
There is somebody.
It's the bottom of the 4th. It's probably going to end in the top of the 5th.
There is somebody in the Wampus Scouts dugout warming up.
You just got to get 2 outs.
Yeah.
You're worried about his confidence more than probably injuring his arm because he's only throwing 20 pitches.
A fist bump from the manager, but the catcher declined the fist bump from the manager, actually.
He said, no. Man, this has been
quite a way to start the season for the HiToms and the Wampus Cats.
Both going in opposite directions, but as that pitch is inside, but you got to think they can take some positive, but it's so hard. I feel like we're digging so deep into the bag, what are we reaching? We're reaching the Earth's core to find
You're getting to the mantle
factor. Here we go. We're really talking about subjects in school.
Exactly. There's not many to take away, and I think this is one you just kind of put in your pocket and don't revisit it.
Yeah, I think you just take this one out and throw it away. It's the truth of Summer League baseball. So that ball's hit deep by Conan into center field near the wall, and it's bouncing off the hill. Another run's going to come in to score. Coonan headed for second. He's safe without sliding. Wow. An interesting play where it looked like he stopped, thought there was no chance they would get him, and he's just in there safely. An RBI double from Coonan, and the hits keep on coming. 1-7-0.
Again, that play really shows the way this game's gone. For the Wampus Cats, if they had a play like that, he'd be out at second. But for the HiToms tonight, things just going everything their way. He's safe, comfortable. Well, maybe not comfortably, but he's safe at second.
He would have been comfortably if he decided to slide.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Coonan hit so well that he's like, this is easy stand up.
We talked about earlier about getting the jersey dirty. I don't think Coonan wanted to get his jersey dirty.
He said, I'm going to save some laundry.
Some laundry for tonight, yeah.
And that brings up Noah Hill. Man, a wild game. Rather, it's 18-0. I apologize. As that's back into center field as well. And Ishmael makes the catch, and that was only the second out of the inning. Did he tag from second? I couldn't even tell.
I guess so, yeah. Ishmael, he didn't it looks like he was almost sleeping there because he didn't look like he had much of a urgency or approach to get to that ball. He just kind of let it comfortably bounce.
I'm not sure I saw Coonan tag from second. Didn't
No,
he just run over to third?
Yeah.
Oh, that ball dropped.
It did, yes, yeah.
Okay, I just figured that out now.
Yes.
I just figured that out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Ishmael, he didn't have any urgency. He just let the ball drop, and then next thing you know, Coonan's at third.
I do apologize. So that's a base hit
Yes,
for
yeah.
Noah Hill.
Yeah.
And Coonan advances to third.
I mean,
How close was that to being caught?
not at all. Ishmael didn't run. He just kind of he's like, all right, the ball's going to bounce in front of me. I'll just let it bounce.
I'm not sure what I was looking at, because it looked like he just scooped it off the ground.
Yeah.
But I guess
no.
it went off the ground.
It went off the ground. It
Okay,
did,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
and
my-
the outfielders for the Wampus Cats are kind of having a meeting, but I really don't know what Ishmael was doing there. I mean, he's got to have. I get you're losing 18-0, but wrap this game up. Catch the ball there.
And now I'm not sure how to interpret it. So he could have caught the ball, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, yes. I fully believe he absolutely could have caught that ball.
Interesting. I'm trying to revisit what I remember of seeing, but it just happened so fast, and there's been so many wild pitches. And we'll honestly just stay with you here on the HiToms Radio Network as we have a new pitcher in for the Wampus Cats, because
I think we could safely say this would be the last pitcher. I can't see one out. This is going to be the last inning of at bat for the HiToms. Can't see another pitcher wanting to come in.
and the new pitcher is Logan Murphy, the right-handed pitcher. That's the 9th pitcher of the game, and the 5th for the Wampus Cats. This is a game that they will certainly want to forget. Probably all these players thinking, I don't ever want this to happen to me again. Unfortunately, in baseball, sometimes it's just one of those days. They're obviously outmatched skill-wise, but they've also hurt themselves in a lot of their own errors that are ruled errors and just mistakes in general. Logan Murphy also plays at Catawba. The freshman, 10 appearances this year. 1-0, 14 innings pitched, and 9 ERA. 12 strikeouts, though, in those 14 innings. It's been the common theme is the strikeouts, but we haven't seen a lot of high-time strikeouts, although that's where they've been getting a decent amount of runs. So Ryan White's up after an RBI hit by Noah White. I apologize. Or Noah Hill. It was not caught in center field by Ishmael. So runners on the corner is still 1 out. Here's the next pitch. Driven in center field. Ishmael coming on. And it drops in front of Ishmael. And it's another run for the HiToms.
Again, for Ishmael, just kind of a comfortable jog up to the ball. No urgency in wanting to dive or slide for that ball.
And I really didn't think I'd bring up this story that early in the year because I had a game last year, Collegiate Summer Ball in the Northern League, formerly known as the Midwest Collegiate League. It was a 7-inning game because the lights at this place did not go. They had no lights, so it went 7 no matter what. There was this, I believe it was the 4th inning where the team I was covering, they scored about 11. You're like, there's no way the other team's coming back. And the other team scores 11, including a go-ahead grand slam.
Wow.
And the game ended, I believe the score was 28-23.
Wow.
In 7 innings.
What did that scorebook look like?
Oh, I wasn't keeping score.
There you go.
No, I forgot about it at that point. I was like, I can't do this anymore. But that was a crazy game. This one's been just one-sided. And it's funny because that game ended on a go-ahead ball in the top of the 7th from our team, which was the away team, where it bounced off the infield and went to right center field, and it cleared the bases on a 3 RBI double. Compared to this park where it's 385 and it's a single
Yeah,
and you're thrown out
yeah.
at second.
You should maybe take a trip down to the Wampus Cats dugout and tell them that for their last hitting up.
Yeah, just think about it. Remember, it's happened one time
Yes.
in collegiate baseball. And while we're talking about that, it's a walk to Ryan White. 3-1 pitch is outside, and the bases are loaded. So White's at first base, Noah Hill's at second, and Coonan's at third. Brings up Austin Deering. Bo Davidson looking for his 5th at-bat on deck in 4 innings. Or it looks like it's Bo Davidson at the plate now, so rather that was Austin Deering with the walk. So this is Bo Davidson's.
Now batting number 3, Bo Davidson.
So Bo Davidson, a double, a walk, ground on to fly out. 18-0. Here's the pitch. It's low. It's 2-0.
Well, you have a story. I have kind of a storyline. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get to it in this game because I wasn't sure how it would go, but I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what is a Wampus Cat? And according to the Wampus Cat's website, it is a cat-like creature in American folklore that can take a trickster qualities. So interesting there, and
They're tricking us into a game that they're down by 18
yeah,
runs.
maybe they'll come back. Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Strike 1 on Davidson. Yeah, I mean that's funny that you read that now. The trickster, like are we being tricked? This is
I don't know. Yeah, it's a cool logo. I like it, but interesting name, without a doubt.
So here's Bo. Outside, and it's 3-1. Certainly don't want to walk him in, but I don't want to give up a giant hit. But you gotta let your fielders play. And Ishmael is sometimes saying, "I don't really feel like that."
At least in this inning, it has been.
3-1 pitch. Outside corner, strike 3. Davidson strikes out looking on a rather 3-2 pitch. For the second out of the inning, it brings up Dylan Lewis, who had a home run earlier in this inning. So now, I mean, a lot of the record books we don't know in the Coastal Plain League. But I mean, how often do you see a 2-home run game in one inning? I think I looked it up in the MLB, and there's been about 10 instances.
I mean, Lewis got a lot of power on that home run. He could easily do it again.
But a new pitcher this time.
Yeah.
It's in for a strike. Took a Oppo power. Because some fans still getting some food, but I mean, are they just going to close down after the game?
I guess so, yeah.
Quick 5th inning. As that's drilled into center field. Ishmael coming on, and he makes the catch. That time he didn't have to take a single step. And like A.J. Meyer said, try to catch the ball.
Hey, he did a good job. Comfortable catch there.
So we head to the top of the 5th. I think it's fair to say the Wampus Cats have an uphill climb. They need 9 runs to extend it. It's 18-0 HiToms as you're listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. New pitcher in for the HiToms. It's Merritt Beaker to try to close this one out. They agreed after the first inning, both teams, that it would be 10 after 5. It's 19-0 HiToms. 10 runs to extend it due to the Wampus Cats' need, so they need to just be 1 run short, shy of how many the HiToms score in the bottom of the first, which is 11. So Merritt Beaker goes to East Carolina University, and it's a big-time schedule for the HiToms coming up, as Beaker is set to deliver.
Yeah, speaking of that schedule, the first CPL game is not here at historic Finch Field. It's actually at the High Point Rocker Stadium, Truist Point, which should be a unique experience for the HiToms.
Yeah, they have 5 games there in the City Connect series. So it's 2-0 on Bryson Bieber.
Including one against the Chinese national team, which should be a fun experience as well.
Chinese national team of Taipei on June 28th. That's the game I'm most looking forward to this year. I don't know about you, AJ.
Yeah, no, that should be fun. It's something you don't see that every time, especially in summer baseball.
And Beber walks, and it's funny because we were asking our HiToms president, Greg Swear, how'd you get this team? And they're really the Chinese team of Taipei. They're playing the USA baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
The real
this summer, yes.
It's not the U whatever. It's the USA baseball team.
Yeah.
So that brings up Isaiah Martin. So a leadoff walk by Beber, and maybe the Wampus Cats can put on their rally caps and try to put a couple runs on the board to take some positives from this. Instead, it's a swing and a miss, strike 2. I will say, doing this scorecard,
it's been quite exhausting, hasn't it?
it's like working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, outside ball 1 from Beaker. But the Wake Fungo here at Finch Field tomorrow. So that's fouled off. Behind the HiToms dugout, some kids are running after. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the back. Going for that.
Wonder if any ran for that home run ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Dylan Lewis wants that one back.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, first one for the HiToms. Why not?
So that's outside ball 2, or maybe the HiToms just want it back to.
Yeah, put it in the museum.
No, I was just gonna say to play with it again.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we could see that ball tomorrow.
2-2 pitch on the way from Beaker. It's inside. It's full count. 19-0. HiToms got off to a great start, scoring 11 in the bottom of the first, in just dominating fashion, pitching, hitting, defense. They've played well. Full count pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And Isaiah Martin strikes out swinging. It's now 5 strikeouts in the game for the HiToms, and it brings up Aiden Wilson. So just 2 outs away from the HiToms securing first win of the season. This is a non-coastal plain league game, but hopefully we'll see a better game tomorrow.
Yeah, more competitive.
I think it's fair to say, even if you're, a HiToms fan, you want to see something sort of competitive.
You want to see what this team's kind of made of, because obviously in the CPL you're not going to get these kind of games.
Well, we'll see.
Well, hopefully not.
Hopefully not. I would be shocked if we ever see this happen.
Another 19 on the scoreboard, yeah.
And I don't think they'd end after 5. That team would probably want to keep playing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But for Uwharrie, it's just a test run. It's just driving around in a circle when you're getting a car.
Well, you're worried. You didn't drive around the circle.
Yeah, you stopped midway through.
Yeah. You flipped over.
Well, I didn't say that. I just said you get out of the car and say, I don't really like it anymore.
I guess so, yeah.
But for Uwharrie, they need to push forward. It's not a choice of a car. It's
a
baseball team.
Exactly.
1-2 on Aiden Wilson. That one's on the ground, chopped towards first base. Davenport's going to hustle to the bag and beat Wilson there. As the runner advances now second, but more importantly for the HiToms, they get an out. That is 3 unassisted for Davenport. And Beber moves over to second. And in fact, that is only the second player for the Wampus Cats that's reached second base in this game.
Well, there's a positive. You want to take one positive from this game, you got to get to second.
I mean, B.J. Williams got the third, though, in the second.
Yeah.
I think a positive is you get some base hits and you score, and it's going to have to be up to Garrison Bridges. First pitch in him. Outside corner, strike one. You got to think these umpires, though, after this game being over after 5, they got to be happy. But also, I mean, it's been 2 hours because the innings have been so long, so that's part of what plays into it.
It's almost been a 9-hour game, basically.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. It's 0-2, and the Wampus Cats are down to their final strike. And their first ever game in their franchise history. Beaker, set, and delivers the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the foul tip. Into the mitt. Astudillo. And that ends the game for the HiToms. An emphatic 19-0 win against the Uwharrie Wampus Cats in their first ever game in franchise history. Really solid one for the HiToms. Some good hitting, good pitching. Certainly you can't have many complaints about a 19-0 win.
No, not at all. And, we came into this game talking about how excited we were that baseball is back here at Finch Field. And it was a lot of offensive baseball tonight for the HiToms and a great way to start off the season. And, hopefully they get to keep the good times going. And then we have to wait one day. They'll be back at Finch Field tomorrow.
And I think it's fair to say the pitching staff also did their job in 5 shutout innings by 5 different pitchers.
Yep.
The Wampus Cats pitched also 5. So we saw 10 pitchers in 5 innings. And a lot of action, especially on the HiToms side. So, once again, for my partner, A.J. Myers, I'm Adam Oppenheim. We'll see you tomorrow on Flow Sports as the Thomasville HiToms take on Wake Fungo here at 6 p.m. at historic Finch Field. So, once again, you'll see A.J. Myers, and I'm Adam Oppenheim. We'll see you tomorrow here as you've been listening to HiToms Baseball on the HiToms Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.